In today's episode of Inside the Mind, we're diving into the psychology of mental strength, what it truly means to have an unshakable mindset, why it often intimidates others, and how you can build a mind so powerful it makes people uncomfortable in the best way possible. This audio recording includes subtitles so you can follow along more intentionally and absorb the ideas at your own pace. Have you ever noticed how some people shrink when your confidence grows, like your peace makes them uncomfortable? Your clarity triggers their chaos. Your strength becomes a threat. Why is that? Why does building a strong mind sometimes feel like losing people? Because most people aren't afraid of your failure. They're afraid of your success. Not because it hurts them, but because it reminds them of who they could be and chose not to. A strong mind, a truly strong mind, it doesn't scream, it doesn't dominate, it doesn't flex. It simply is unshakable, unmoved, unbothered, and that kind of energy, it's magnetic to some and terrifying to others. You've probably felt it. You start to speak with more conviction, and suddenly you're arrogant. You set boundaries, and now you're selfish. You walk away from chaos, and they say you've changed. But the truth is, you didn't change. You returned to yourself. You remembered who you were before the world convinced you to doubt it. And that's what scares people. See, many of us were taught to survive by shrinking, by pleasing, by staying small enough to be accepted, but not so bold that we were seen as a threat. We learned to mistake passivity for peace, silence for wisdom, compliance for kindness. But a strong mind doesn't need to perform. It doesn't seek validation in the eyes of people who don't even see themselves clearly, because a strong mind knows peace isn't the absence of noise, it's the refusal to let that noise live in your head. So, how do you build a mind so strong it scares people? Not to intimidate, not to dominate, but to become so rooted, so clear, that nothing and no one can shake your foundation. You start with these. 1. Relentless self-honesty. Stop pretending, stop posturing, stop performing for people who wouldn't recognize your truth if you handed it to them gift-wrapped. A strong mind doesn't need masks. It doesn't need to hide behind curated personas or half-truths. It asks the hard questions and sits in the discomfort of the answers. Where am I still lying to myself? What am I still avoiding? Who am I trying to impress, and why? The stronger your mind, the more honest you become with yourself first. 2. Detachment from external validation. You will never build a powerful mind if you're addicted to being liked, because the stronger you get, the more people will misinterpret your silence, your focus, your self-worth. Let them. You're not here to be understood by everyone. You're here to understand yourself. When you stop chasing applause, you start creating peace. 3. Emotional regulation. Overreaction. A weak mind lashes out. A strong mind listens and chooses. That's real power. The space between stimulus and response. The ability to feel everything and still act with intention. You don't need to react to every insult. You don't need to defend yourself against every misunderstanding. You don't need to explain your worth to anyone unwilling to see it. Silence isn't weakness, it's wisdom. 4. Intentional solitude. Some of the strongest minds are forged in quiet rooms, alone, away from the noise of the world. Solitude isn't loneliness, it's where clarity is born, where you meet your truest self without distraction or distortion. A strong mind craves depth, not noise, stillness, not chaos, truth, not trends. 5. Disciplined thinking. Your thoughts are not facts. Your fears are not prophecies. Your doubts are not destiny. A powerful mind knows how to observe thoughts without becoming them. It filters, it questions, it chooses. You are not the victim of your thoughts. You are their architect. So, design carefully. 6. Vision over validation. You have to want the life more than you want the likes, because when your goals are clear, distractions lose their power. You stop getting caught up in petty drama, in shallow approval, in surface-level connections. You're building something sacred, and sacred things don't beg for attention. They command it by simply being real. 7. Emotional responsibility. You're not responsible for how others feel about your growth, but you are responsible for how you carry yourself through it. A strong mind doesn't weaponize its strength. It doesn't mock those who are still learning. It moves with grace, quiet confidence, not loud arrogance, because strength without empathy is just ego. 8. Repetition of the right habits. A strong mind is built like muscle, through consistency. It's not what you do once that changes you, it's what you do daily, especially when no one's watching, reading, reflecting, pausing before reacting, choosing growth over comfort every single time. That's how mental strength is built, not in moments, but in patterns. But here's the part no one talks about. When you build a mind like this, people will leave, not because you hurt them, but because your growth forced them to look at their own stagnation. And that's uncomfortable. They'll say you've changed. They'll say you're too much now, too cold, too distant, too intense. But that's not the truth. You've just become clear, and clarity scares those who are still living in confusion. So keep building. Build a mind so still, even chaos gets quiet around you. Build a mind so rooted, even storms can't shake you. Build a mind so clear, your path scares those who've never stepped into their own. Not to prove anything, not to get revenge, not to become unapproachable, but because you deserve to know what it feels like to move through the world without bending, breaking, or betraying yourself to make others comfortable. So, what are you still holding on to that's keeping your mind weak? What thought, what story, what person needs to be released so your strength can rise? Leave it below, not just in the comments, but in your life. And if you're building that kind of mind, one that might scare people, but saves you, you're not alone. We see you. We are you. Let's keep going.